And all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High God. In the name of His Holy Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi. Coming to you with another Sabbath class. The name of this class is called The Dark Ages. Can you hear us here? You need to turn the volume up some.
I got you.
The other one?
What color we got? Green?
No. This one.
Oh.
1 2 1 2. Can you hear? I'll pray. The name of this class is called The Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. Because it's called The Dark Ages for a reason. Have anybody heard anything about the Dark Ages? You know, they skip over a lot of stuff, like 1,000 years worth of stuff, if it ain't pertaining to them. That's the thing about the Dark Ages. It's called the Dark Ages because that's the time that the Edomites were not prosperous in the world. They had went down for 1,000 years. And see, this is how we know this Bible is real. Because the Bible prophesied that it was going to happen to them. And history proves it. Because if you go by history, who was in charge of history? Depending, if you in oppression, then your oppressor is in charge of history. You know what I'm saying? Because he called it the Dark Age. Because he didn't have anything going on for over 1,000 years. And it went from 395 AD to 1492. 395 AD is when the Second Roman Empire had went down. And then they had a decline of what they say that their intellectual and art and music had declined. But no, they was put underfoot for 1,000 years. Give me Malachi chapter 1 and verse 1. This thing was prophesied to happen. But also another part of this class, I want to show that the Israelites have been in the Dark Ages, our own Dark Ages. Because when we go by history, like I said, their Dark Ages is talking about them. But we were in rulership at that time. That's why you don't hear much about that time. But you hear after 1419, and you hear about 1492, that's when they start being back in power. That's why they call it 1419, the beginning of 1419, the Renaissance era, or the Enlightenment period, because that's when they came back in power. So if they went into power, what happened to the Israelites? We was going out of power. We was having a decline because after 1492, when they came over here to America and started conquering the Native Americans, that was a decline for the natives, for the 10 tribes. They went down. And it's all prophesied in the Bible. And ever since 1492, all the way up until, I calculate the 1969, when the School of One West started pushing the modern day Israelite movement that we're in right now. And now we back in a Renaissance. We're back in our own Enlightenment period. Because now Israelites are starting to do music and tailoring and movies and schools, and we're making a resurgence of our intelligence, of our knowledge, of our God, of our heritage. That's an enlightenment. That's the same thing happened to them. So we're coming out of a dark age by understanding who we are. Read that out.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 1. The birth of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places.
They will do what?
Build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down.
What are you going to do?
Throw down.
Read.
And they shall call them the border of wickedness.
What are they called?
The border of wickedness.
Uh-huh.
And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
Read on.
And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel.
Uh-huh. Stop right there. So the Lord had promised that he was going to throw Edom down, make them impoverished. They say, you stop. The Lord say, you build, but I'm going to destroy. That's what happened to this nation. That's what happened to the nation of Edom for coming against the Most High. And he said they are the border of wickedness. So these things were already being prophesied about this nation. Go to Revelations chapter 20 and verse 1.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid a hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
How long did he bound them?
1,000 years.
Uh-huh.
And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till that 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season.
After that 1,000 years, he must be loosed a little season. History will prevail and show you, like roughly between 395 AD to 1492, that this was the case. That Esau had got put down, and then Satan got released again 1,000 years after that. Like I said, they history reflect that. Because for 1,000 years, they called it the Dark Ages. And then when Satan got loosed a little season, they call it the Renaissance or the Enlightenment period. And what happened during that period that they called the Enlightenment period? They started pushing Christianity hard through the Catholic Church. They had crusaders. They had Christopher Columbus come over here to the Northern Kingdom. Then they started coming over here to the Northern Kingdom and conquering them. To the west coast of Africa, conquering us. All this stuff really just hit in 1492. It's a lot of stuff that happened and a lot of characters that's involved with our downfall in 1492. Pope Alexander VI, who was the father of Caesar Borgia. The reason why Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and those dudes are famous is because they whitewashed the images of Christ. They whitewashed the images of Moses, the saints. Michelangelo painted what they call the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Last Supper. All this is whitewashing. Christopher Columbus was the first one to come over here to start conquering the Northern Kingdom. Every person in their history that's famous has something to do with the downfall of the Israelites. And started in 1492. So they call it their Renaissance when they start coming back into power. Go to Revelations 20 and 7.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 20 and verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters.
What he's going to do once he's released out?
Deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. And a fire came down from God out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone.
Oh, right there. So once Satan was released, His job was to deceive the whole world. What mechanism has the devil used to deceive the whole world? Christianity. This Bible is a prophet. Man, they don't understand the power of this book. They don't understand the power of knowing our history, man. Our heritage. Like they say, oh, history is his history. Well, if you want to understand our history, you got to go to the Bible. And you'll understand that when they was put under sunder, brought down to earth, we was ruling. We was monarchs. We was kings and queens. But we still wasn't doing it the way the Most High had sent us out to do it. And then when they was loose, that Satan was loose, they started pushing this Christianity. And our people need to understand this, that this Christianity is a lie from Satan itself. That's why my next class is going to be called, So You Want to Be a Christian? Because in this book right here, it's called Bartholomew de las Casas, an account much abbreviated of the destruction of the Indies, right? And in this book, it's pretty graphic too. On page 5. Now we're gonna go up a little bit. Let's see what the Christians did while they would, when they came back into the power. What did they do? And it reads on page 9. The Christians would smite them with their hands and strike them with their fists and beat them with sticks and cauldrons until they finally laid hands upon the lords of the villages. And this practice came to such great temerity and shamelessness and ignominy that a Christian captain did violate the wife of the greatest king, the Lord of all the island. So this is what the Christians did when they came over here. The Christians, this is what the book called them, the Christians. The Christians came as crusaders. The Christians came as conquerors upon the Israelites. So when our people talking about they Christians, you part of the white supremacy that came and conquered our people in the first place. Because that's all they came to do, was to conquer us. But, as we know, all things is done by the Most High God. They were sent for a reason. Now give me Revelation chapter 17 and verse 3.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery, Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. And
who?
With the blood of the saints.
Now who sent them people to get the blood of the saints? The Pope, the Catholic Church. That's who the kings of the Edomites, the Pope. That's the only person got authority to tell the kings of the nations what to do. He sits on that woman, the virgin daughter of Babylon. That's the one pushing all the abominations. Everything run through that Catholic Church. It don't matter what country it is. That's why I say he got 7 heads and 10 horns. That's different nations that they occupy. And if you know the history of the so-called white man, you know the history of the Anglo-Saxon, then you will truly understand these scriptures right here. If you go back and understand how they work, yeah, they have their kings. England has a king. France has a king. Spain has a king. but they all adhere to the Catholic Church, and the Pope is their king. So the abominations that they spewing out comes directly from the Catholic Church, because the king is religious and they always listen to the Pope or the priest or the father, but it always runs through the church. Like we watching a show right now called The Last Kingdom. For the Anglo-Saxons, the church is everything. They think if you give it to the church, then it's all good. Oh, I give it to the church. The church robbing them blind. The church teaching them all types of abominations, just like today. That's why the people say, not my pastor. Your pastor worked for the same organization that's sponsored by Satan. Them same abominations that this woman, the Mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth, the things that the people is getting drunken from her, is from Christianity. And our people don't even know it. Let's see if I want this. I go to Revelations 13 and start at verse 1. So that's what emerged in 1492. It's Christianity doctrine. Even the picture that they use right now for white Jesus comes from Cedric Borgia, whose father was the Pope at that time. Isabel and Ferdinand of Spain, they sponsored Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus come over here. He take natives back. Anybody who do a little reading about the natives will clearly understand that the natives that was already over here went into slavery first. Wasn't that promised by the Most High God that was going to happen to us? So that was the beginning of that punishment that we was going to take. The beginning of our captivity. But it was started by the Most High God because of our disobedience. Read that out.
Want me to finish that one out?
13 and 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
The name of what?
Blasphemy.
Now see, this is what people need to, this is where you can merge past history and modern history. This is talking about a certain race of people, the Edomites, right? If you look at how they move today, look at the EU, look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, and then look at America and the European Union. Look how they stick together. Look how they move together. Look, matter of fact, look how they took the European countries and made them a union to where they can't do nothing but move together. They got to move like this. They made it like that. You know, somebody went crazy. They made it like that so that they can guarantee that they stick together, because they know that they in it together. They know that they're one beast. America is the head of that beast. So those 7 heads and 10 horns, those are the European nations. But no other countries on the planet move like they move. They got African unions, but do they have the power that the European Union has? They have Arab unions, but they don't have no power. Even China talking about starting one with the Asian Pacific countries. China be the most powerful one because the other ones don't have any power. But the EU has all the power. The EU has all the nuclear weapons. They have all, matter of fact, the financial system goes according to them. That's why they was able to freeze Russia out. Oh, we're going to freeze Russia out of the financial system. So they can't sell any stocks, they can't do any business. Because that's how they set it up. They set it up for the spiritual, for the military, they set it up for the financial. They run all of it. Because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And what did the Most High call Edom? The border of wickedness. So when he say the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, matter of fact, get that, Job 9 and 24. Because all of this go together for understanding the world that we live in today. It never changed because Rome did the same thing. Greece did the same thing. Their whole duty is to try to gather all their people together so that they can go against us. That's why Alexander the Freak was the first Edomite that they was proud of, because he was the first one to come against us and be successful. Read that, Doc.
This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof.
Now, did he not cover the faces of the Israelites? Like I showed you in 1492, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, all the Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, all the Ninja Turtles. They use them names because those are famous artists from that Renaissance period. And what were they doing? They were whitewashing the saints. They covered the faces of the judges thereof. Because when we go back to Russia or Germany or France or Italy to the medieval times, you see that the saints were painted the right color that they're supposed to be. When you go up into Russia, you see that the saints are black. When you go up into Italy, in the catacombs, you see that they painted the saints black. They was even bowing down still to a black Madonna and a black Jesus, even though we know what that entails. But they know that the saints are black. But up until the Renaissance period, they start covering the faces of the judges thereof. Read on.
If not,
if it ain't the white man,
where and who is he?
Who is the only person who painted Jesus white? I ain't seen no Chinese Jesus. The Africans don't even worship an African Jesus. They worship a white Jesus. I ain't seen no Hindu Jesus. But who is bold enough to paint an image of Christ and then paint him and whitewash him? The Last Supper. Da Vinci got homosexuals in that paint. The picture's supposed to be Mona Lisa. That's a man. You know what I'm saying? You already know the type of stuff they was into. You watch the Borgias, the TV show about the Borgias, you'll definitely see the type of stuff that they was into. That's the family that the Pope Alexander VI, that he was the father of, and Sergio Borgia, the one that they painted as Christ. They got a show about him on Showtime. Sergio Borgia was sleeping with his sister. He had an affair with Leonardo da Vinci. But this is who they worshiping though. Because it was all by design. Not only do Satan got them worshiping a homosexual white man, when Christ was an Israelite, an austere man, he got them doing things contrary to the Most High God through Christianity. That's why I said he was going to be loose this season to deceive the whole world. The biggest deception you can do is about the Most High God. Go back to Revelation.
This is Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. So
the leopard, who wore that leopard skin? Alexander. That was the foundation. His feet was like unto a leopard. That's the foundation of the Edomites. When Alexander took Greece and made Greece an empire. Read on.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
That dragon is Satan. The dragon, that old serpent. Satan gave Esau his power. Why do you think they serve him? Catholic Church clearly is not of the Most High God. It's clearly a deception. It's clearly a lie. They got our book pushing a doctrine that's not even in the book. You don't get no more of a lie than that. Everything that they say, everything they do is contrary to the Bible. And every Edomite country is pushing the garbage by force. And they say they're Christians. Read on.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
That was the first Roman Empire.
And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
They worship Satan. And if you ever heard the Catholic Church do their little hymns, they openly worshiping Satan, Lucifer. They openly worship him. It's so much open Satan worship in this place at this point that you would think that that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's so many witches and warlocks that's openly out here. The United States military allow you to be a warlock, a witch, and do your wicked. It's open Satan worshiping all around us. They got Satan worshipers reading in schools, in elementary schools, kids, and after school programs. Trannies teaching the children, what they call them, non-binaries, whatever, transformers, whatever they want to call themselves. This is what they teaching the children. Because if you've seen the Baphomet statue of Satan, it's a male, but it has breasts. It has a child on each side of him, a boy and a girl. They already showed you what they're about. Because if this was a God-fearing place in the first place, all those altars would be destroyed. But why do you think they say this is a place of religious freedom? So you can do whatever, garbage, whatever. If you're not a Satan worshiper, you're not going to let no Satan worshiping go on around you. But if you're a Satan worshiper, then you're going to have to allow it because you want to worship your Satan. And you know that there's only one people that's truly going to worship the Most High God of Israel. The one true living God is only a select few people, the chosen ones. And everybody else is going to be worshiping wood and stone and stars and moons and suns and cars and women and whatever else. So of course you're going to say it's freedom of religion. But if you worshiping the one true living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it ain't no freedom of religion. Because this is heritage, and there's only one way to worship the Most High God, and that's through spirit and through truth. Read on up.
And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies.
That's when you got your television, your movies. Now they're able to make the 10 Commandments movie. Now they're able to make the, what's the one? The Passion of Christ. Oh, they really can invoke your emotions then. Because how many of our mothers and fathers watch the 10 Commandments and they think that's the way it went? You can't tell them what the dude's name? Charles Hessler? You can't tell them that wasn't Moses. That movie, that picture movie that's Moses right there. No, you got me messed up. No. Like Jesus, you crazy. That's what it gave him power to speak. It used to just be the picture of Jesus, white Jesus. Your grandmama got him hanging up, but then they started the movies and the television. Now he got a mouth. Now they speaking real great blasphemies. Now they can make a movie and you can see white Jesus walking and talking and acting effeminate. And now you come tell them about the real Yahweh Shah. They think you crazy. But nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about this white homosexual fairy says abortion. Nowhere in there does it say that. Read on up.
And mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
He blasphemed everything. Now the saints is Mother Teresa and Pope John II. Them ain't no saints. The Saints are the Israelites.
God.
The 12 tribes of Israel, the ones that do the will of the Father. That's the saints. How could them people be saints and they don't do nothing that the Father told them to do? Because if you know anything about the Catholic Church and their inner workings, they are some sexual perverts. How can a place that's been deemed a haven for pedophiles be a place where saints dwell at? These people torture they torture the nuns. I listened to a confession of a nun and the stuff that she's been through. They believe in physical torture and physical putting pain on themselves or on others as a recompense for their sins. Why do you think they so prolific in torture? They've been tortured for a long time. That's why they sexual perverts now. And want to be tied up and gagged and all this stuff. The stuff that they did to us, they want it done to them as pleasure. Because they, like I've been saying this, they are a bunch of psychopaths, man. Anybody that bring their children to the murder of a person as a picnic is a psychopath. And they pass this stuff along, but they try to play like they civilized. And that's why I like that show we watching, The Last Kingdom. Because it really showed their true nature, even up all the way to today. You got the Vikings, who was just being their brutal, natural caveman self, and conquering and taking and plundering and just living life for what it was. And then you got the Anglo-Saxons who trying to act like they're civilized and, oh, don't want to harm a fly, and we're Christians and we want to negotiate first. That's because they were scared of the Vikings. But when it came to us, they did the exact same thing to us as the Vikings did to them. Oh, they turned into Vikings then because that's their natural instinct. But when they dealing with the Vikings, they want to act civilized. That's the same as the Russians and the U.S. The Russians just being a natural Viking self. We gonna take. That's their natural instinct. And Americans are the Anglo-Saxons who want to negotiate. We're going to sanction them because they don't really want to fight them. Wasn't that the same thing in the show? That's the exact same thing that was happening in the medieval times. The Anglo-Saxons really didn't want to fight the Vikings. But when it came to the Britons, the indigenous people that lived in Britain, oh, they came and took from them. When it came to the natives over here, they came and took from them. They can do it to us, but to each other, oh, let's negotiate. I heard more negotiation in this show than ever. Oh, we'll give you grain and silver. Let's just negotiate. Oh, ain't no negotiation with the Israelites, though. Ain't no negotiation. It's straight conquering. Read on up.
Verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. The power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Now show me what nation don't have Christianity in it at this point. You can go to the Philippines, you got Filipino Christians. You go to the Netherlands, you got Netherlands Christians. You can go to South Africa, you got South African Christians, Nigerian Christians, Indian Christians. You got Arabs doing Christmas. Show you how far this scripture is true. Can you say that about Islam? Yes, Islam is in a lot of places. It definitely is. But it don't match up with the people. The Arab man ain't running nothing. What he running? But some camels. Gas station, 7-Elevens. That's all he running. But Christianity is everywhere, and it's ran by who? The so-called white man. And that nation of people is lining up with what the Bible is saying. It ain't the African man. He ain't running nothing. Chinese man, he ain't running the whole world. He don't have rule over all nations, tongues, what did it say? Kindreds, tongues, and nations. English is everywhere. You go to places, you don't even think the people speak English, they speak English as a second language. all over the world. Christianity is everywhere. Heck, I watched a video where the Edomites went into one of the last secluded places on earth, climbed up a tree, because the people lived in tree houses. Climbed up the tree, had a picture of Caesar Borgia, and commenced to trying to give them Christianity. Still to this day. Spreading the lie. These people live in trees, minding their own business, and they come to bring the lie to them. That don't make no sense. But that's what the Bible say. When it say all kindreds, tongues, and nations, I watched the white man walk up and go up to a tree to spread Christianity. Who else doing that? Who else? What other religion is doing that? I ain't seen the Jehovah's Witnesses go up a tree to try to spread it. Give me Genesis 27 and 38. And let's show you that the so-called white man knew that this was going to be his destiny. It was already promised that he was going to be able to do this.
This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heavens from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt thou serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
And it shall come to pass, when thou hast dominion. You should break the yoke off your neck. He did that in 1419. 1400s, 1492. Isabella and Ferdinand expelled the Jews and the Christians out of Spain. They broke their yoke. They started kicking us out of Europe. They started getting back control. They started getting dominion of the earth. Read.
And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt thou serve thy brother. Oh, my bad.
Hold on. I want that part. I want that part.
Oh, you want that part?
Do they not live by the sword? Esau lived by the sword, and he gonna die by the sword. That's why you'll see them have a school shooting, and they ain't gonna change no law. They have a massacre in Las Vegas. They not changing no gun law. They have a massacre. As a matter of fact, what, last week, 2 weeks ago, it was a massacre it was some kind of mass shooting every day throughout the United States. Every day. Esau is not changing no gun law, because he gonna die by the sword. That's why the Lord say, he who live by the sword shall die by the sword. He's gonna die by the sword. Read on.
Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother to Haran.
Right there. So Esau's whole purpose after he got his blessings took, he wanted to kill his brother. This has been planted in them since that moment right there. Go to Ezekiel 35 and 1. So when they got back into power, it was natural for them to come back after us. It's always been embedded in them. Read that when you got it.
This is Ezekiel 35 and verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate.
For anybody who don't know, Mount Seir is another name for Edom, for the nation of Edom. So the Lord said He's going to stretch out His hand against this nation. Read on out.
I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
He done did it before, He's going to do it again. Read on.
Because thou hast had perpetual hatred.
He said this is the reason why He did it to Esau before, and this is the reason why He's going to do it to him again, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
Thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
He said He slayed us in the time that our iniquity had an end, when we wasn't even doing nothing. Because Esau is the sword of the Most High against us, but we're the battle axes of the Most High against him. So whenever we are going against the Most High, He's sending His sword against us. At this time, we hadn't even done anything, and He came against us. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord said, and that's like now. A lot of brothers ain't even did nothing, and they just killing them. That's a problem. Because it's one thing when the Most High sinning against us for our iniquity, but it's a whole nother thing when they just murdering us. Because they have a perpetual hatred against us. So when, like back in the day, or even up to this day, when those redneck crackers run up on a brother and they lynch him, and the brother ain't even did nothing. That's the time that He's talking about. They're going to have to pay for that thing. Heck, Yahushua still mad about the ones who pierced Him. He still got a problem with them. He going to deal with it when He come back. But this is the type of stuff that He's talking about. Read on.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Because Esau don't hate blood. Esau eats the blood. Esau drinks the blood. He says you don't have a problem with blood. As a matter of fact, Esau will murder somebody. What does that show? Dexter. He'll murder somebody and keep a blood sample. Esau don't have a problem with the blood. You couldn't have a problem with the blood if you slaughtering people. You couldn't. You got people get a paper cut be about to die when they see the blood. Oh Lord, it's over. I have to get it amputated. But when it comes to Esau, he don't have a problem with the blood. Read.
Verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passes out, and him that returneth.
So you go deal with Esau if you want to. He said he gonna cut him off that passes out, and him that returneth. Read.
And I will fill his mountain with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetually desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and I will possess it, whereas the Lord was there.
These two nations is the northern and southern kingdom. These two countries is America and Israel. That's why America and Israel is so tight. Because one of them is holding the children of Israel, and the other one is acting like they are the children of Israel in our homeland, committing identity theft. That's why Israel is the only country outside of America that can't do no wrong. Can't nobody say nothing to Israel. Israel go bomb them people in the Gaza Strip, ain't nobody gonna say a word. Israel came over there and took that land. Didn't nobody say a word. Only people saying the word is the Palestinians over there. And then what they do to try to appease, oh, we're gonna allow Christianity, Islam, and the Jewish people to dwell there. That lets you know right there that ain't their land. Because it's our land. And it wasn't finna be no Jews, Christians, and Muslims dwelling together in the Holy Land. But because they are confederate against us, they're able to do that. But you see, it ain't even no peace there. The Arabs, the Muslims, and the Jewish people been bombing each other that whole Ramadan period, or what they acting like they was doing the Passover. They was killing each other. Because there ain't gonna be no peace there in that land. Because these people have taken our country. These people over here got us held hostage. Because contrary to whatever they say, oh, you can leave. Where we gonna go? Because unless you give us our land back, everything else is occupied. Give me...
Second Edges 13:45.
Yeah, but give me Deuteronomy first. Give me the Deuteronomy first. And before and just to let you know, and just to let you know that these people knew that they were supposed to do this, if you just look at the documentation that they put out, the decrees, like the doctrine of discovery that the Catholic Church put out, that said the spiritual and intellectual and the physical properties that they take, even if somebody else is living there, if they proclaim it for the Christian church, then it's theirs. This is all Edomite doctrine. That's why they felt like when they came over here, and even though the natives was already here, that they discovered this place. That's why they use the word discovery, because they had a doctrine of discovery. The manifest destiny. A manifest destiny. That's you believe that you, like the people, they believe that America was supposed to get taken by the white man. That's their manifest destiny. Or the Monroe Doctrine, where America believes that they supposed to expand and take over. This is all embedded in them. And it really is no lie, because prophecy, prophecy has to be fulfilled. So everything that we're reading about was prophesied about, and everything has to be fulfilled. So all the way up into them waking up to what they supposed to be doing, that was the begin of our downfall, the begin of us going into our own dark ages, where we lost our language, we lost our heritage, our nationality, our homeland, families were separated. How could it not be a dark age? We went into slavery, but it was all brought on by our own self. Read that out. 15:48. 15 first.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So this was part of the covenant, that if we did not keep the law, statutes, and commandments, that curses was going to come upon us. Go to 48.
Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
He shall do what?
Put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he hath destroyed thee.
Read on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, and nations whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So we know that this was prophecy. And this did come true. But the thing that I wanted out of there was the Lord sent them against us. That's the key part. The Lord sent them against us because of our disobedience. They didn't just choose to come, oh, we finna go take some blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. No, the Lord sent them against us, and it was prophesied that it was going to happen. Now give me Psalm 17 and 13. Psalm 17 and 13.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 17 and verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, eat him down, deliver.
Read that again. You can use my glasses.
No, I got something written right there when the precepts kind of went over the word. It says, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked.
From the who?
From the wicked.
Now who is the wicked?
Esau.
Read.
Which is thy sword?
Which is what?
Thy sword.
He's literally telling us that Esau, so-called white man, is his sword, right? Now go to Leviticus chapter 26 and 33. Read it when you got it.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 33. And I will scatter you among the heathen.
He gonna do what?
Scatter you among the heathen.
Uh-huh.
And I will draw out a sword after you.
He will do what?
Draw out a sword after
How
you.
you gonna draw out a sword after us?
Send Esau.
Read.
And your land shall be desolate, and your city waste.
So he telling us what he was gonna do. But you gotta be precept upon precept to understand this Bible, Christians. Christians don't get it. Everything gotta be in context. But you gotta read the book, and you gotta study the book, and you gotta do what the book say to do. And the book say precept upon precept. And that's how we know who the so-called white man is, because the Most High pointed him out through the Bible. He sent him against us. That's how we understand that people want to be, oh, the white man this, the white man that. No, the only time the white man is going to be a burden for you is when you're going against the Most High God. Because then he's going to send that sword out against you. And we all know that when we was out here hanging out in the streets doing ungodly things, we was worried about the police. And the police worried about you. But when you ain't doing ungodly things, you ain't worried about the police, and the police ain't worried about you. Because we understand the Most High is teaching us who these people are and what their purpose is. Because we understand what our purpose is. So the Most High sent them against us for our disobedience towards him. Now give me 2nd Esdras 13 and 45.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 45.
Uh-huh.
For though that the country there was a great way to go, namely, of a year and a half, and the same region is called Osiris.
So we understand through the scripture that the northern kingdom came over here to America to start over in a land that never man had dwelt. And they were supposed to be over here to do the will of the Father. Read on.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
Uh-huh.
And now when they shall begin to come.
Read that part again.
Now when they shall begin to come.
Who are the they that began to come to a land where never mankind had dwelt until the northern kingdom got here?
Conquistadors, Columbus.
Conquistadors, conquerors. All this was prophesied to happen. And we're going through old prophecy, we're going through old history to let everybody know that the things that's prophesied to happen ahead of us is going to happen, because the things that was prophesied back in the day has occurred, and we have proof. It's to the point where now they done made movies about the stuff to where we can see it. And today began to come. So he had already let us know they was going to come. And they put it in a movie on how Christopher Columbus knew where the Northern Kingdom was at. That they used this book right here, 2nd Esdras 13. So we're not making this up. They only confirming everything that we know. Because we know our history now. Now we're not just leaning on Esau's history. We know our history. Just give me Genesis chapter 49 and verse 19. So this is the beginning of us going into our dark ages, when they began to come. That nation of fierce countenance that the Lord sent against us for going against the commandments. Here goes some more prophecy.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
So Gad is the northern kingdom, the Native Americans. And it said a troop shall overcome him. Did that not happen to the Native Americans over here in America?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did they not send the troops, and did they not fight them back?
No.
That's why they couldn't just take the the Native Americans into slavery. They was too busy fighting them back. And they say he gonna overcome that troop in the last. So that's why the Native Americans had a warrior spirit. That they gonna keep fighting. They keep fighting. Even in a few numbers, they still go and try to fight against the white man. Because they got that warrior spirit. Go to Isaiah 65 and 11. Let's get some more.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 6 and 11, verse 11.
65.
65, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 65 and 11.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 65 and verse 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forgot my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that truth.
That did what?
Prepare a table for that truth. And that furnish the drink offering unto that number.
Why you think this white man had the audacity to bring up the Thanksgiving? It was some natives that sat down with him. That's how they kept catching them up in all them different treaties and stuff. Because you did have Native Americans that sat down with the white man. That broke bread with the white man. Because they was warring against another tribe. Read on.
Therefore, I'm sorry. Lord, that forgot my holy mount, prepared table for that truth, and that furnished the drink offering unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, you did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
Read.
And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee, and call his servant by another name.
Man, so it's telling us that we were going to eat but be hungry. Meaning, Yeah, when we was in slavery, when the Native Americans got taken by this man, they had crops. They knew how to eat, but they had to feed them. We was farming. We knew how to farm, but we had to give it all to him. Yeah, you drink, but you ain't gonna be, you gonna still be thirsty. Because you can work the land, you can do all the work, but yet you're not gonna reap any of the benefits. Yeah, you can sing songs, but it's not gonna be of joy. They had us singing songs, but we wasn't happy. He said we're gonna leave our name for a curse. Blacks, Native Americans, Indians, Mexicans. That's a curse, that's a byword. We left our Israelite heritage for a curse and said gonna call it served by another name. That's why you got fake Jews over here pretending to be us. But you always have to remember that the Most High has a balance. So yeah, he got vessels fitted for mercy and he got vessels fitted for destruction. You gotta have a balance. So although we not being called by our name, it's another people being called by our name, but he's gonna balance this thing out. And that's what's happening right now. We're taking back our heritage. We're having a resurgence of we've been enlightened again to who we are. That's why the scriptures say, if you shall bethink yourselves. That's what we've been doing. We've been bethinking ourselves. Give me Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law.
No, some of Israel.
All Israel have transgressed thy law.
See, this is what they like to say why the Israelites ain't God's chosen people still, because we transgress his law. But he ain't never leave us nor forsake us. Read on.
Even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses and the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem.
So under the whole heavens, what's been done ain't been done like unto us, because all of Israel transgressed God's law. The sub-Saharan slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. Ain't nothing like that been done to another people on the planet to where you got a name for the slave trade which they've been in. No other people. And it happened to all of us, the northern and southern kingdom. That's why I said all Israel has transgressed God's law. So this is part of our dark age period that we was in, going into slavery because of our disobedience. Give me Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, because it said all of Israel has transgressed God's law. And I love this scripture right here because it's a statue signifying this. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
So if you ever seen that the statue of Theodore Roosevelt and Judah on one side and the northern kingdom on the other side, that's letting you know that the white man knew his destiny. He knew what he was supposed to do. He signified it with a statue, showing that he knew what he was supposed to do. To take the northern and southern kingdom into captivity. We were oppressed together. Give me Jeremiah 50 and 33.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go.
They what?
Refused to let them go.
So do you think America just gonna let us go? when they got a birth certificate system where they getting debt off us, when they getting money from every child that's born here, you think they just gonna let you go? They giving you a social security number, starting you as a corporation, so they can get benefits off you, and they think you think they just gonna let all these blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans go? Brothers out here talking about, I'm a sovereign nation. We all are a sovereign nation, but you think they're gonna let us go? No, because they done already set up the scheme to where they get paid off of us. So it'd be foolish of them to just let us go. That's why if you go somewhere too long and your paperwork in order, they gonna come and get you. That country gonna hold you, and they gonna come and get you, like you got a warrant or something. Yeah, one or two of us might be able to go somewhere, but that's like being a scattered sheep. Okay, I got money, I go to Morocco. I don't know nobody over there. My people ain't over there like that. But I'm away from the United States, but I'm away from my people too. It'd take all of us to leave to start a nation. But we know it's just like in the days of Egypt, you got a lot of Israelites who love Egypt. They love America, good old America. But we are here oppressed together, and they refuse to let us go. That's why Christ's gonna have to come just like Moses did and say, let my people go. That's why Pharaoh didn't want to let us go. Let my people go. So that was us going into the dark ages, being in our dark ages. These people lynching us, sicking dogs on us, calling us niggers and spicks, and making us go through the back, won't serve us, all types of stuff. I just think the Most High, I didn't live in those times, because just looking at it get you anxious. Just looking at it, how they did our people, just get you blood boiling. And that's how we gotta say we blessed, man, because even though we got our own problems in the time that we live in, mainly killing each other, but we know that prophecy is being fulfilled. And another thing that Esau knew, if we pay attention to these things that they put out, and we pay attention to our Bible, you would know the tidbit that they throw out there, letting you know that they know what is supposed to happen, because it's written right here in the Bible, prophecy. So this is from the Willie Lynch, something that got us so messed up in the head as a nation. The Willie Lynch, a program that they put on us to mess us up. It's on page 22, warning, possible interlooping negatives. And it earlier we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger in their wild or natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage. So while we out here calling ourselves savages, I'm a savage, well, they called us savages. And it wasn't in a good connotation either. And when have you seen a good savage? Anything that's savage, it ain't good. But people like calling themselves savages. But anyway, it's for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and the female savages, we had created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever, unless phenomenon occurred and reshifted the positions of the male and female savages. What's that phenomenon that's reshifting the positions of the male and the female? The laws, statutes, and commandments. That's why people are having such a hard time, because it's shifting things back to the way that it's supposed to be. Our people don't understand we the only people on the planet that's so out of order that the women don't have respect for the men and the men don't have respect for the women. That the children don't have respect for the old and the old don't have respect for the young. That was all taught by the Willie Lynch. And we don't get it. We do not get it. Still to this day, you got people who are living in 2022 who just don't get it. Who think when a man be a man that that's offensive. Or if a woman be a woman that she's weak.
That's sexist.
Everything is sexist. Oh, you're what they call it? When the male, they call it
Oh, chauvinistic.
male chauvinist.
Yeah.
They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. The white man is a male chauvinist.
Toxic masculinity. That's what
Toxic masculinity. Get out of here, man. They got something new every day. But we clearly got taught this in the Willie Lynch. It say, take this simple little list of differences. List of differences. That's what we doing in Israel. We making our own Willie Lynch. His brother do the new moon different. They do the Sabbath different. You eat meat, I don't eat meat. Just making up little differences. On top of my list is age. But it is there only because it starts with an A. Second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, status, on the plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slave live in the valley, on a hill, east, west, north, and south. What do you think we learned about? Oh, I'm from the east side. I'm from the north side. I'm from the south. I'm from the west coast. These niggas don't get it. You was taught this by your slave master. You banging about sides you don't even own not 1 acre on. If you own the acreage, I can understand why you're banging. If you own the block that you live on, I can understand why you're banging. But these niggas don't own nothing. They stand at their mama house banging on the street that they grew up in because you've been staying in this house your whole life. But you don't even own the house. We was taught this in Willie Lynch. And Christ's been telling us the whole time how to overcome these differences. They still don't want to listen to Christ. But it said, unless phenomenon occurred and reshifted the positions of the male and female, our experts warned us about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring. For they say that the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time if it can touch some substantial, original, historical base. And they advised us that the best way to deal with this phenomenon is to shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomenon or illusions so that each illusion will twirl in its own orbit. So, one of the illusions is, and what I found out myself, is like the Renaissance, the fake Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance, right? We always had the talent for singing. We always had the talent for dancing. We always had the talent for being poets. But we wouldn't have had a Harlem Renaissance if it wasn't for the fake Jew that sponsored the Harlem Renaissance. We wouldn't have had a civil rights movement if it wasn't for the fake Jew who sponsored the civil rights movement. It wouldn't be an NAACP if it wasn't for the fake Jew who sponsored those things. The Black Lives Matter, the fake Jew sponsors those things. That's fake phenomenon. That's an illusion. The NAACP is an illusion. Black Lives Matter is an illusion. It's an illusion of things, of what we think it is. We think it's about Black Lives Matter, but when you do your research, you understand that it's ran by the LGBTQ, ABC, XYZ community. And they keep adding stuff I can't keep up with. They use LGBT. It used to just be gay. LGBT. Now it's non-binary, now it's this, now it's that. Man, forget all that stuff, man. But that's who's running it. The NAACP. It's something for colored people. What colored people? They had a white woman in there acting like she was a black woman.
That's what
And then you know what's crazy about that? Me and my wife watched that. We were watching a black show about hairdos, about sisters, and they had her on there. And the tripped out part about it, she was with a black man who wanted her to act more white. He was a coon. He got with her because she was a white woman. She wanted to be black, and he wanted to be white.
NAACP stands for Negro Coon Assimilation Association.
It gotta be something, but they ain't never did nothing for me. But this is an illusion, man. This is the truth, what we're doing. This is what they wanted to cover up. This is where all the conspiracy started at. To put no difference between the clean and the unclean. To put no difference between what's right and what's wrong. The big conspiracy starts at the Christian church with the mystery daughter of Babylon. That great whore. Because this is the phenomenon that they did not want to start. But it's prophesied. You can't stop what's prophesied. Give me.
Last
Right.
one was Jeremiah 50 and 33.
Give me Psalms 82 and 47.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 40. You mean 83 and 47?
Salakia. No, 4. Verse 4. 82 and verse 4. Salakia.
Okay. Psalms 82 and 4. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Thy know not, neither will they understand, that they walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course.
All the what?
Foundations of the earth are out of course.
That's why up here it said, by reversing the position of the male and female savages, we had created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. They turned our world upside down. They turned our world out of course. And that was prophesied. Read on.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes.
And that's what happened to us. We fell like the princes. We died like men. Because our whole world is turned upside down. When we leave the Most High God, you might well turn your world upside down as an Israelite. And see, that's what their intended purpose was to do. Keep our world turned upside down. Keep us from this phenomenon. That's why the Nat Turner story is so big to me. Because that was a time that he had broke through the matrix and he realized what was going on. That phenomenon had struck him. He like, oh no. Can't go out like that. That's the same thing with us. We got hit by that phenomenon. It's truth. See, they can't stop it. Ain't nothing they can do because it was prophesied. So all we doing is walking closer and closer to history. Prophecy has been told and it's being fulfilled, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to this end. Give me 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 47. Read it when you got it.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8 and verse 47. If ye that shall if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captive, and repent.
And do what?
And repent. And make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captive, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely. We have committed wickedness.
So this is King Solomon. King Solomon had 40 years of peace. So why would he have to say this to the people, to God, when they was in a peaceful time? because he knew that it was going to come a time that we wasn't going to be at peace and that we wasn't going to be in our homeland. We was in our homeland at this time when he said this. But he said this for a reason, because these were instructions for if we was not right with the God, if we broke his laws, statutes, commandments, and we went into slavery and ended up in another place. This was the instructions. If we shall bethink ourselves in the land whether we were carried captive, and repent and make supplication. And when we do that, the Lord will hear us. This was prophecy. King Solomon already knew, because he knew what the Bible said. So right then we was reaping the benefits of keeping the law, statutes, commandments. But he knew, Lord, if we don't keep them, what's our way of getting back to you? He said, if we shall bethink ourselves. That's what we had to do here. We thinking we Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, we blacks, we Hispanics, Hispanics property of Spain, Puerto Ricans, Puerto Riches, Jamaicans, land of wood and water, black is a color. We thinking all this garbage, all this bywords. How do we get back to the God? We have to bethink ourselves. Because it's always been here amongst us. It just wasn't widespread. Somebody of our people always knew we were the Israelites. It just wasn't widespread as a movement because it wasn't time. But the Most High has always kept a remnant of his people, of knowing who we were. It just wasn't widespread until it was time. In 1969, when West was started. Yeah, we know about Abba Bibbins and all the others that came before, but it did not start a phenomenon until this time. Give me Acts 2:16. Read it when you got it.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 2, and verse 16.
Read.
But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days.
In what days?
Last days.
Uh-huh.
Saith God.
Said who?
Saith God.
The same way he sent them devils against us, he said in the last days this gonna happen. Read.
I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh.
Uh-huh.
And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. And your young men shall see visions. And your old men shall dream dreams.
So he said he gonna pour out his spirit upon all flesh, right? See, somebody might say, oh, see, it's talking about everybody. No. He said, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. That's the sons and daughters of the Israelites. And your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Read.
And on my servants and on my handmaids I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy.
Drop down to 21.
Verse 21. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Ye men of Israel.
Ye who?
Ye men of Israel.
Read.
Hear these words. Yahushua of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which God did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know.
So it's specifically talking about the Israelites. The Israelites gonna prophesy for the Most High. What's happening right now? And he said in the last days, just showing you we inching closer and closer through this prophecy, to the point where right now we can see our part of the prophecies that we fulfill. Because before 1969, wasn't nobody out here really teaching this word the way that we teach it. To keep the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High God. Wasn't nobody out here on the highways and byways, on the corners, teaching the whole world. This is prophecy. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 26.
This is 1 Corinthians.
And this is our illumination. This is our enlightenment period. By us going out here teaching this word of God, thus saith the Lord, this is enlightening our people, illuminating our people. Because the commandments is a lamp and the law is a light. And then he tells us to let our light shine. Let our light shine therefore before men. Read.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 26. For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God hath chosen the foolish thing of the world to confound the wise.
What's the most foolish thing on the world?
Gang industries.
Thank you. A black, Hispanic, and Native American man running the streets doing Satan's will. That's the most foolish thing on the planet. Read on.
And God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the thing which are mighty.
What's the weakest thing on the planet? A black, Hispanic, Native American man that don't serve the Most High God of Israel. Because you just out here doing whatever. Ain't nothing weaker than a black man in Islam. Because he can't do nothing for you. Ain't nothing weaker than a Hispanic man in Catholicism. It just make you weak. Make you weaker than what you're supposed to be, because you start, oh, what would Jesus do? No, Jesus, the white Jesus, is gonna give you a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Say it's all right. Do as thou wilt. That's what make you weak. No, Hamashiach Yahushua gonna tell you to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and sin no more. Not keep doing your devilish deeds. Read.
Verse 28. And the base things of the world, and the things which are despised, hath God chosen, yea, and the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are.
What's the most despised and base man on the planet?
The Negro.
The black, Hispanic, the Native American man. Do you think the rest of the world respect the Native American man?
No.
They don't even bring him up. They don't respect the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Mexicans. The world don't respect them. They look at them as weak. The black man, we don't even have a country. The Haitian man, they got a country and don't have nothing. The Jamaican man, Venezuela, look how they did Venezuela. Nicaragua. They have no respect for us. We are the base and despised. That's who the Most High chose to do this work, though. Because if he chose the mighty or the noble, then everybody would listen. Whatever Queen Elizabeth say, oh, we're going to do it. The royal family. Whatever Creflo Dollar, whatever T.D. Snake say, everybody will listen to him. But that ain't who he chose to bring out his true word. That's why I say, be aware as you might be entertaining angels unawares. Angels are messengers of the Lord. We are angels. When we telling somebody to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, sisters are angels. When they telling people to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, you are being a messenger of the Lord. And they see us, and they just see a nigger. Okay. You might be entertaining angels unawares. Because what an angel gonna do? He gonna come tell you something from the Lord. That's all we doing, is telling you something from the Lord. And they say, don't shoot the messenger. There's a reason not to shoot the messenger.
Somebody else need a message too.
He just giving the message. He just doing what he told. That's all we doing. That's what they don't understand. They can't grasp the concept that we didn't just decide to come out here and do this. If that was the case, wouldn't it be more people, wouldn't it be more Christians who just decided to come out here and teach the word of God? But the same way that Christ, the disciples, Paul, and the prophets before them was despised for what? For telling the people you're going against God and you need to change your wicked ways. and the people didn't like that. It's the same exact thing that's happening here, but they can't see the similarities. They can't see that brother tell a brother, you need to marry that sister, you need to put on a dress, and the people turn around ready to fight you for that. But they not ready to fight a Christian. The only people ready to fight a Christian is a Muslim. And the only reason they ready to fight is because both of them the devil. And it really go deeper than that. If you bombing me and I'm bombing you, yeah, we should be ready to fight. But the real fight is the spiritual fight. See, they act like they having a spiritual fight. Can Satan cast out the devil? No. Because Islam was started by the Catholic Church. So how Christianity gonna get rid of Catholicism? And how Christianity gonna get rid of Islam, and Islam gonna get rid of Christianity? It can't. It can't be. But what did they try to get rid of? The Israelites. Together they tried to do that. But it ain't gonna work. Because the Most High has never left us or forsaken us. Matter of fact, let's get that out of Romans. Give me Romans chapter 11. Read that.
This 11 and what, 1?
Yeah.
This is Romans chapter 11 and 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye not what the scripture saith of Elias? How he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets, and dig down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so, then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace.
So the Most High ain't never gonna leave us or forsake us. He always gonna leave that remnant so that we'll be able to come back to him, man. Throughout this whole dark ages that we've been in, he has left a remnant. That's how he survived all the way up until this point. That's how we able to do what we're doing right now. Give me Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1.
This is Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever.
For how long?
Forever.
Read.
All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
Because when we come back to our laws, such commandments, we bring our spirit back to life. There's a whole lot of people that's spiritually dead right now, because the whole fight is of the spirit over the flesh. It's a spiritual battle that we in. So to be in this battle, you have to be spiritually alive. Read.
Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
This is the real Illuminati, the real illumination, the real enlightenment period. When we come back to keeping these laws, such commandments, that's how the nation of Israel is being enlightened again. That's how we going through a renaissance again, because we know our heritage. So by knowing our heritage, we know about putting fringes on. That's whole businesses for people. Tailoring, making clothes, dresses, head rags, head scarves, you know what I'm saying? Books. The books of Israel is in abundance again. We got people writing books. We reading books. Look at that dark age period where we wasn't even reading books. They didn't want us to read books. Now we back to reading books, writing books, making books, music. Now we making songs joyfully. You know what I'm saying? Now the Most High is hearing those things. We got people farming, not farming hogs, farming goats, and lambs and chickens. We got our hand doing all types of stuff, bringing this nation back together again, man. Learning our old ways. Sisters making ointments and stuff for their hair and to grow the beards and for their skin and just all types of beads and necklaces and jewelry and just everything, man. It's a blessing. Because if y'all know like I know, when I was in the world, it seemed like didn't nobody know how to do nothing.
At all.
Didn't nobody have no talents but rapping and playing sports. And then if somebody did try to do something, you got people laughing at them and making fun of them. So where they wouldn't even want to tell nobody. Or if not that, they just hating, downright hating on them. You trying to do your little thing, try to make your stuff, and has no support from your people. That's part of the curses. But we in a Renaissance period, an enlightenment period, an illumination period of Israel again. Read on.
Give not thine honor to another.
What did the Bible say?
Give not thine honor to another, nor the thing that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
So, boom, 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 boom. 50-round drum to any Israelite who think you can get this to another nation. Who want to save the Gentiles. Who want to save the heathens is what you should be calling. We need to move that Gentile word out the way and just say heathen. I bet you we'll clear up everything then. Because a heathen is somebody who's not an Israelite. Now, can the heathens be saved? No. So with people misinterpretation of the word Gentiles is where all the confusion come from. But ask them, can a heathen be saved? And then if they say, yeah, call them a fish-eye fool. Because you got to be a fish-eye fool. Because the Lord said, give not that is profitable unto you to a strange nation. What do that mean?
Don't give them your knowledge, your wisdom, and your understanding.
Because that's what the law, statutes, commandments are. So if it was meant for everybody, why he's telling you to come back, be illuminated, bring your spirit back to life, and then don't give those things that's profitable to you and yours, don't give them to a strange nation. What's a strange nation? A heathen nation. Read on.
O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel.
Because the things that are made, the things that are pleasing to the Most High God is made known to us. We don't give that to a strange nation. We keep that for us so that we can please the Father. Read on.
Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God.
See, we provoked the Most High that brought this dark age upon us by sacrificing to devils. But he give us that way back. We had to take that punishment, man. Our people went off. We trying to get back on track with the Most High God. At least we ain't sacrificing to devils right now. At least I hope not. You know, a lot of black people, they too scared to even kill an animal at this point, let alone make a sacrifice. I don't know about Issachar. Issachar might even think they might just make a sacrifice right now with a chicken or some stuff. Yeah, oh yeah. Now if they doing voodoo, we know they doing sacrifices. But I'm talking about the average. The average Israelite ain't really doing that no more. But they still worshiping idols. And you got to stop that stuff. Give me got a couple more. Oh, give me Matthew 24 and 13. Yeah. Matthew 24 and 13. This is another part of the prophecy that we're fulfilling. Coming about this dark age. This is Christ, our big brother, our Lord, our King himself.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
Read that again.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So this gospel has to be preached throughout the whole world. If Christianity was the way, then the end would have already came. You got a little more?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm almost finished. So we're in the process of preaching this gospel throughout the whole world. That's what we're in the midst of right now. So every word in this book gonna come true. So that's what we're gearing up for. Give me 2nd Ezra 6 and 9.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
And even in this little bit of scriptures we touched on about Esau and being the wicked. Anybody who denying that Esau is not the white man, I don't know what they gearing up for the rest of their life or for the future. But Esau is the end of the world. How you gonna get past the fact that these people got nuclear? We are literally living right now, this second, where they talking about nuclear war. And it ain't the same as during the Cold War. Like everybody know that this thing can pop off at any moment, seriously. And they not even saying that Russia playing, because they know, if you know about the Vikings, I suggest people go look at The Last Kingdom to get an understanding of these Edomites, man. These Vikings and Anglo-Saxon thought process. The Vikings ain't trying to lose, and if they do lose, they want to go out with honor. These Russians, they know for a fact that they will pop off some nukes before they lose, because they already know what the end game will be. Putin already know they'll kill him. The Russian leadership already know they'll kill him. So they willing to go to the end, and that's exactly the type of guy that the Most High heart he has in his hand. It can't get no more better than that. You ain't finna find no other person that's heart set to do what the Most High want him to do, like Putin. And the Anglo-Saxons like, why? Why would you do this? Because it's been prophesied. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing they done did stop this man from doing what he doing. Because they doing just like the Anglo-Saxons. They want to negotiate. He ain't negotiating nothing. Ain't nothing to negotiate. Even they even at the negotiating table with Ukraine, and it don't mean nothing. Because what the Most High has set forth, ain't nobody stopping. So Esau is the end of this current world that we living in. And Jacob is going to be the one that follow the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because remember, the Lord only loosed Satan for a short season. A short season. Jump over to 54.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast madest the world for our sake.
For whose sake?
Our sake.
The world was made for our sake, and we can't never forget that, man. So next time you go to throw a piece of paper on the ground, remember this world was made for your sake, Whenever you go think to throw some paper out on the ground, thinking Esau gonna pick it up, Esau ain't picking up no paper. It's Issachar and Judah gonna be picking that paper up. So you just making a mess for your own brother. But know that this world was made for our sake. We can't mess our own stuff up. You know it ain't made for his sake because he destroying everything up in it. He killing all the animals in it before he go. He taking all the fossil fuels out before he go. You know he the devil. You got the capabilities of running electric cars and solar to where you don't even need fossil fuels, and they will not even do it. Because they'd rather make this so-called money off of fossil fuels. It's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because if the world was made for his sake, solar and electric would be the best thing for you. But he don't care nothing about that. This the creature that will go in here and kill a whole rhinoceros for a horn, a whole elephant for tusks, a whole shark for a fin.
And what he care about clean air and water, he don't even like to bathe.
And he sure don't use the towels. Give me one more. Give me Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18.
This is Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
The saints gonna take the kingdom. That's the way of this world, people. You gotta be a taker. Scriptures ain't say he's gonna hand over the kingdom. The scriptures say he's gonna take the kingdom. Understand me? We gonna take the kingdom. That's the same philosophy that Esau got. That's how he took America. That's how he took Israel. He took Australia. He took South America. He took South Africa. He took everything. He took Britain, France, Germany, because they take us. So we got to do the same thing to them. Through the power of the Most High God and name His Son Hamashiach Yahawashah. Give me. That's all I got? That's all I got?
I think that was it.
That's all I got?
We need a law.
Get a law?
Let's go get a law.
Let's
Let's
see
go
here.
find a good law.
You know what? Give me Revelations. Give me, since the saints gonna take the kingdom, give me Revelations 14 and 12. We are the saints.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and 12.
I hope it is.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God.
What you have to do?
Keep the commandments of God.
So that is the commandment. Keep the commandments of the Most High God.
And the faith of Yahushua.
And you have to have the faith in Hamashiach Yahushua, the King. So you got to keep the commandments and have the faith of Yahushua. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
This gave out on